AITA for finally snapping and telling my mom to go back to the family she replaced me with instead of trying to act like nothing ever happened. My mom, 42, and I, 22, used to be really close. Like she's all I've ever had and she's the one who taught me to be as strong as I am today, and her becoming a cop inspired my whole life. I love her so much and I admire how strong she and I wish things were like how they were. Her uncle, my great-uncle, managed to bring her to Canada from Kosovo in 1999, if that helps give you guys an idea of the kind of things that she's been through. When I went to university our relationship started changing. She disliked my GFS, my uni choice, wanted me to ferry home every weekend, and then I got a co-op term at a prestigious company in Vancouver. Don't ask, I'm not giving it up. That she did not want me to work for cause she had a moral stance against it. I agree with her, but it was a great opportunity. I'm going to grad at the end of the term and I'm set for a job with the VPD cause of it. But my mom cut me off cause of it and straight up told me not to come back, so I had to move in with my great-uncle and his son, my uncle. We started messaging again half a year ago after she sent me a chain message on WhatsApp, but we've been taking it slow. I follow my mom on IG, but she rarely posts, and when she does it's anti-war stuff. But then she put up this post with a caption something like, "So happy to have a real family again. Can't wait to go on my new journey," and it showed her boyfriend and her with engagement rings and an ultrasound. Like I don't know, it just triggered something inside of me. Am I not her real family? Were we nothing? It just made me very angry, like I'm going to have the sibling and stepfather I always wanted and she couldn't even be bothered to tell me personally? Well, I decided to wait and see how long it would take her to call me about the news, and she just didn't. Reading break was 2 weeks ago, and at the end of it my mom came to my great-uncle's house to pick something up. She saw me and tried acting like no time had passed and how excited she was for my graduation and this and that. She still didn't acknowledge she's getting married. I just told her not to care about my graduation and to go back to the family she replaced me with, left and stayed gone till she went home. My uncle told me that what I did made her cry and I was an asshole to her, and my great-uncle told me that I should have handled things with more tact. I feel bad about it cause she was reaching out to me and everything's been frosty with my uncle since then. NTA, she wrote the post that insinuated she didn't have a real family, so now the post bit her in the bum and she kicked him out. Will she do the same to her real family if they disagree with her? This needs to be near the top. OP, you/Dakita kid, ignore most everything people are saying on this post. They don't give a shit about you and are on a witch hunt and looking to take their own mommy and daddy issues out on other parents, and would rather you cut ties with her forever just because they want revenge on their own parents without having the fortitude to actually cut ties with their own parents themselves. The people here do not have your best interest at heart. And honestly, if they knew where you worked, that you yourself is somewhat morally questionable, I promise you a very large chunk of the people here would wish misery upon you and your family anyway. If you are still pissed about having no contact for so long, then by all rights, go ahead. Keep her out of your life. The only thing I'm saying is that your mother said she was so happy to have a real family again. It wasn't meant that she doesn't want you in her life again. When you two cut contact, she did lose her real family. She said a real family again because for the first time since you two had cut contact she had people actually in her life that cared about her. What she said wasn't a slight against you. Do you feel during that time that you were still a real family? Because I bet it felt like you lost your family. I know it, because you're upset over it now. If you two hadn't cut contact, she would have still said you were real family. A couple messages back and forth isn't mending a real family back together either. The only way for you to become a real family again is through real contact and real back and forth, not just messages once a month. Again, if you don't want her in your life for how everything else has gone, that's up to you. All I'm saying is, don't let this misunderstanding be the thing that keeps you away from her. That's not what was meant by it. You're young, but you are more than capable of making your own decisions. The only thing I don't want is for you to let the Reddit hysteria mob to make decisions for you and you then live to regret the consequences of the rabid mob mentality. That would be a miserable way to leave things with your mother. NTA, thanks for the awards, kind strangers. They didn't cut contact. SHE cut contact W him. Thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Yeah. A moral stance against a company was more important than a relationship with her son. He agreed, but life has more important things than virtue signaling about bad companies. He made a choice. She made a choice. He didn't cut contact. She did. I have a feeling it was with the RCMP. If she's a female cop, chances are she's highly aware of Highway of Tears and a lot of corruption that has come out in the news in regards to their conduct and systemic sexism and racism. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are plenty ** of companies with a sordid past or present. She's probably justified on some level. Just like if here in the States, someone decided to work for, she'd be right to be mad even if it was a life-changing job that he didn't have to commit to for more than enough time to get his foot in the door. But on the same token, she felt it important enough to cut him off over the job. That conviction was / is more important than her relationship with her son. She's got that right. But that's not their decision. No contact was her decision. She left her family because it was more important. Yeah, it doesn't change that it's hurtful to her son. Especially since he picked his career based on the example she set. She kicked him out. So no, everything you said isn't true. At all. Stop pretending to care for someone that you clearly don't. I find it amazing that people upvoted this comment and awarded so much. I mean, this commenter didn't understand what happened between OP and his mother. This commenter is projecting himself and also talks as if he personally knows OP's mother and her reasons and feelings. Amazing.no. SHE kicked him out. SHE cut contact with him. It was a slight against him because she cut him out of her life for years, and then acted like she finally got a real family again when she had her son all along. It's not Reddit hysteria mob, it's you not reading the post closely enough. Yeah, I was wondering what they were on about. OP clearly says that mom kicked him out and then never informed him about her marriage. What is this misunderstanding Common Sensei is talking about? When you two cut contact, she did lose her real family. Are you kidding? She kicked out her child who had no other parent and abandoned them. Jesus Christ. Boo-hoo-hoo for choosy mommy. If she actually cared at least a little, wouldn't she have told OP that she was getting married? So in that regard, I don't think she cares all that much and treated OP like an old toy, but I could be wrong. OP, I recommend that you talk to your mom first about why she made this post and why hasn't she told you about her relationship. If I may recommend, you should also get to the point. Don't let excuses cloud your vision. People tend to speak nonsense when they are confronted. I know, because I do it the most. The difference is he felt like he lost family because she kicked him out. She didn't lose family, she abandoned it. I'm honestly not sure what company my kid would have to work at to become persona non gratis in my home. I mean, I'm pretty sure it would have to illegal, like to the point I could lose my house if an investigation occur. Even if they went to work for places I have deliberately decided not to shop due to something they do, I still love my kid more than I hate accompanied. I'm not looking at this with my mommy and daddy issues. I'm looking at this from the point of view as a mom. His mom was wrong. She was wrong to cut him off. She was wrong to sweep everything under the rug and pretend like saying she had a real family now doesn't hurt him. Has she apologized for any of it? Not telling him she is engaged and pregnant. Trying to get back into someone's good graces and having them find out on Facebook is pretty crummy. Has she apologized about the real family comment? Just because she didn't mean to hurt him doesn't mean she can't apologize for hurting him. She has so much to apologize for. When I say stupid stuff in a way that can be taken wrong and might hurt someone, I apologize, especially if it's to my kids, because they are the people I want to keep hurt from the most. It's up to him if he lowers contact or cuts ties with his mom. When the hurt is more than the love, it's time to go. Just because she family doesn't mean she has the right waltz back into his life and pretend all this didn't happen. If she is not willing to atone, apologize, and tread carefully, then why should he be willing to have to take that? Most people that are thinking about cutting someone off know it's best but are afraid because of family obligation, social judgment, or other type of stuff. When they come here, mostly they are looking for permission. OP, you have my permission if you want it, from someone who did make that decision. You also have my most heartfelt wishes if you choose to try again with your mom, hoping that this time will be different. Good luck whichever path you choose. They don't give a shit about you and are on a witch hunt and looking to take their own mommy and daddy issues out on other parents. Could you project harder, please? You didn't even read what OP said, but you're here crusading. I am so over Reddit's inability to accept that sometimes people disagree with them. So many people can't express an opinion without whining about how everyone else is just an inexperienced kid or is an edgy teenager or hates their family or whatever. Be the adult you pretend you are and accept that you aren't the arbiter of truth. I love the self-righteous narcissism it took for you to declare your own comment needs to be near the top and directly tag OP, which would have been done automatically if you had made your own comment. And in that same sentence tell OP to ignore most everything people are saying. You are absolutely someone I would never take any advice from, ever. The only thing I'm saying is that your mother said she was so happy to have a real family again. It wasn't meant that she doesn't want you in her life again. When you two cut contact, she did lose her real family. She said a real family again because for the first time since you two had cut contact she had people actually in her life that cared about her. I'm calling bullshit on this. OP didn't step out of mom's life. Mom cut OP out of her life, kicked OP to the curb, and went NC with OP. Not the other way around. This is the consequences of mom's action coming home to roost. She has only herself to blame for not having people who cared in her life prior to this. She did this to herself. The OP did not do this to her. She threw away her real family, and now wants to pretend that she didn't. She meant it exactly the way the OP took it. Because how else is OP supposed to take it after having been kicked out and told not to bother contacting mommy dearest until OP complied with mom's dictates? That's extremely controlling behavior that should have mom totally ashamed of herself. Hold up. Info. OP, you don't have to tell us what the company is. But you do have to tell us what specifically she objected to. If it's general corporate shenanigans, yeah, it's OTT to go and see with your kid for having to buy into a capitalist system he didn't make. But what if the company was invested in Serbia during the Kosovo War? What if it has a mercenary division, like Blackwater, that worked with Serbia, or something similar? That would be an entirely different matter, and I wouldn't blame your muth one bit for cutting you off for that. To be honest, probably. It's like cheaters and narcissists. They don't change, they just find new victims to fool. NTAOP, it really does seem like she no longer considers you as family. You just pointed that out. You have every right to feel bitter. Also consider showing your uncles the post she made. That may help them understand why you acted the way you did. Right, this seems to have started a war in the comments, so let me clarify a few things. Point 1. I don't think that the mother is a narcissist. I was simply listing people who refuse to change, and narcissists happen to be one of them too. Yes, OP's mother is a war victim, and yes, OP siding with a company that she didn't morally agree with was bound to create some strain. However, that's not exactly the point. 3. In the post, the mother said real family again. This implies that she no longer sees OP as a real family member. She may have at one point, but she doesn't now. So why should OP treat her like family when she has made it abundantly clear that she doesn't see him as family? Make it make sense. If you haven't already shown them, OP, you really should. Don't bear the brunt of her cruelty alone. What she's done and said is absolutely horrible. Agree. Please share her words with them. That was a hurtful post. You sound hurt and sad. You definitely don't sound like TA. You should express this to your uncles and your mom. You deserve to be heard. Hugs to you and good luck. Is it possible that this sub throws around the term narcissist too much and refuses to acknowledge that not every person who does something selfish fits that diagnosis? I think it's worth adding for OP, who is seeing this through a lens of hurt, that the phrase real family again implied that she did have one before she became estranged from you, her son. That is her own doing, to be fair. But it sounds like you are both hurting from missing each other and feeling like the other doesn't really care, when you both do, and you can help heal each other. I'm not rendering a judgment here. Besides info on the company, if it's, say, a defense contractor and she was a refugee from a war zone, I mean, damn. I see some really hurt people here. No assholes yet. This. OP, you obviously love your mom a lot. And it sounds like she loves you too, and that you were both obviously hurt by each other. I do think that you should reach out to her, not necessarily to apologize, but to tell her how her post hurt you. Talk to her, and listen to what she has to say. I don't think either of you want to give up on the relationship yet, so maybe having an honest and open conversation would really help. I know I should have talked about it with her because I do want that relationship back, but I don't know, it's like all my anger about it just came up to the top. Like she only wants me now that I'm graduating and going into a job that she respects. It probably is, but most companies are complicit in horrors. Fanta the Nazi soda, still owned by Coke, IBM tracking Nazi experiments, everything Elon Musk and Bezos do. These are off the top of my head examples. How far does it go for OP to appease her versus live? I have severe trauma, so this isn't me dismissing hers. However, I cannot demand other people forego opportunities, food, shelter, or even their own goals because of my trauma. That might even cause missed opportunities to cause change in the world. I'm not suggesting that his mother was right to cut him off, though I'm also not into the lots of giant companies do shitty things, so fuck it school of thinking. I'm suggesting that it might be understandable how she ended up making that bad decision, and it might not be that she's a toxic control monster. I am responsible for my actions regardless of what they are driven by, and I cannot ask other people to manage my mental health problems with their life decisions. Camps with you, for sure. I'm just also in the people are imperfect and we're going to fuck up camp, and this sometimes when we are hurt we end up hurting others camp. If his mom wasn't sorry about cutting him out of her life, she wouldn't have reached out to him in the first place. OP's not asking if he was the asshole for taking the career opportunity. He's asking about his comments in response to her post about her pregnancy, which I honestly think might come down to a tragic misunderstanding. And yeah, people who love each other being estranged over miscommunication is a tragedy. I'm replying to my own comment because I wrote a long-ass edit that has become a separate idea. Hey, you/Dakita Kid / I think I figured out a clearer way to articulate this. Point 1. You thought her post about having a real family / again / was meant to imply that you weren't her real family, not that, as her wording could suggest, you were her real family that she had before, but she lost you through the estrangement, that was something she missed. This is possible, but you don't know for sure. Point 2. Your comment about sticking to her real family was meant to convey, I am really hurt by / angry about this comment you made. And SHE may not know that if she didn't mean it that way or have any idea you saw it. Point 3. It's very hard to communicate clearly when we're angry, especially if it involves admitting we're hurt to the person who hurt us. We lash out because we believe that we are protecting ourselves. Point 4. It is possible that your worst interpretations of her behavior are entirely right here, but you don't know for sure. The way to find out is by asking what she meant and admitting that you are hurt, which can be incredibly difficult and scary and requires deep courage. The worst case scenario if you reach out is that your mother, who you love so much, responds with something else really unambiguously uncaring to you, and you learn that relationship is really lost to you / going to be the source of more pain if you try to rekindle it. Twisting the fucking knife after being abandoned by her as a young adult, when you admired and loved her so much. You can still choose to walk away after that, if that is the case. The worst case scenario if you don't is that you cut off the path to healing when there was one, and remain estranged when you could have had every chance to make things right to each other, and been part of your sibling's life. That you could have had the conversation where you say to each other things like I love you, I'm sorry, thank you, I forgive you, and this broken heart you're carrying around could have been replaced with love and connection and renewed faith in people, but you will both remain angry and hurt instead because you chose not to give it a chance. I'm not saying it will be some easy instant reconciliation or that there are any guarantees, but if you learn to give love a chance, that courage will serve you for the rest of your life. Info. Did you show your uncles the IG post? Ask them what were you supposed to think when she wrote, so happy to have a real family again, can't wait to go on my new journey, and it showed her boyfriend and her with engagement rings and an ultrasound, and she shows up acting like she didn't cut you off for where you work and nothing ever happened? No. NTA.IMO. If she wants to reconcile, she needs to sit down with you one-to-one and explain why she did what she did, because there's a good chance she may dump you again, especially if you do something else against her high moral standards, or if her BF doesn't like you, or if she just doesn't have time anymore. Put some consistent effort into this relationship, mom, if you want one. My guess is she wanted him to grow up to be a mama's boy, forever tied to her. Instead, he became an independent adult. It always makes me worry about the kids when someone makes being a parent their personality, doing everything for their kid or whatnot. There's a blurry line there that crosses from dedicated parent to obsessive control freak using their kids' lives to make them feel good. Info. Did you show your uncles the IG post? No, I didn't show them the post. I couldn't do that to them, make them choose between us, and if they chose me and cut her off. They were her only blood relatives when she came to Canada. I couldn't do that to her either. IMO. If she wants to reconcile, she needs to sit down with you one-to-one and explain why she did what she did. Because there's a good chance she may dump you again, especially if you do something else against her high moral standards, or if her BF doesn't like you, or if she just doesn't have time anymore. Put some consistent effort into this relationship, mom, if you want one. Of course I want a relationship with her, but as for her boyfriend/fiancé, I always thought he liked me and I looked up to him, so no danger on that. You don't have to ask them to make a choice, but you should probably show them the post. They don't have the information to have an informed opinion on the subject, and without it you do look like the asshole here. You're under no obligation to shield her from the consequences of her own actions when you're the one being wronged by them. NTA. She's your mother. The least she could have done was to pick up the phone and tell you about the wedding and the baby. She cut you off for getting a job. Then she acts like nothing's happening and doesn't even bother telling you she's getting married after cutting you off and kicking you out for a job. She hurt you and now you have to suck it up. She can suck up a little. Great uncle seems to understand better than your uncle, since he said you should have been more tactful. Not that you shouldn't have said it at all. NTA. She needs to understand that the lack of relationship now is her fault, not yours. It makes me wonder what the job was. It sounds like there is a moral/ethical disagreement here. I personally have family members that I don't let into my personal life because I don't want to get too friendly with them. My hesitance is specifically because of their dangerous, borderline if not squarely extremist, political/religious/ethical views. If I was a war refugee, that might be even more of a relationship deal breaker, yes, even with family. Like, I'm not unkind with these family members, and I ask them about themselves and am supportive of things like birth of a child, wedding, etc. when I see them. They're still human beings, albeit misled human beings. On the other hand, I don't run to share my life milestones with them. It's my way of keeping my distance. This isn't an argument against her judgment. I don't even disagree with you. She can suck it up. She is facing consequences of her decisions, whether or not they are justified. It's just my opinion that we may be getting a partial story here. I'll try and keep this as vague as possible. The company is involved with war, but not what happened in Kosovo. My mother is fiercely anti-war and did not want me working for the kind of people that killed my brothers and sisters, her words. And I understand where she's coming from and agree with it, but it was for 4 months and I mostly just gained experience in the field I work in while opening doors for me. See, if my kid went to intern for a Republican senator, even just for a summer, I would be horrified as a gay man. And me being bullied for being gay and growing up a second-class citizen does not even come close to what she had experienced in the war. While I am not with her when it comes to the petty Instagram crap, I understand why she was disappointed in you. She gave you everything, only to raise a kid who has no issue compromising morality she tried to instill in you for a job. I don't approve going no contact, but I can't judge her for it. I do think you did an extremely foolish and borderline shitty thing by taking that job. Somewhat, in their own way, and just slightly,